On today's episode, I show you who I believe are the two best defensive midfielders with the Orchestrator Playstyle you can buy if you're on a budget. Stay tuned. Hey guys, so today we're going to talk a little about the orchestrator position and a couple players that I found that I think are really good for that play style if you're looking for a player that can play defensive midfield. Now, orchestrators are an interesting breed of player. At their heart, orchestrators, in my opinion, are actually more offensive players than defensive players. So looking for one at the defensive midfield position means that you have to understand you're not going to get a really aggressive type of defensive midfielder like you would get if you had an anchorman or a destroyer. You're going to get someone who's a lot more focused on positioning, breaking up play through interceptions, and then launching counterattacks. Orchestrators are really good for continuously recycling possession if you're sieging the enemy box. So if you're going to do a lot of passing around the perimeter of the 20-yard box, then orchestrators are really good for you. They'll sit 30 or 40 yards back. You can kick the ball back to them, wait for someone to move into a better position, and then ping the ball back in. And they can give you a really good ability to continuously move the ball around in a deeper attacking position so that you can try and ultimately find a through ball or get a player in a position where they can post up. When you're using counterattacking, they're very good for counterattacks because the way the orchestrator's built is that there is a focus on passing, and it should be both short passing and long passing. So they should have the ability to drop a good over the top ball, and that puts you in a position where if you have really fast players, you can get those over the top through balls or on the ground through balls to unlock attacking opportunities so you can burst forward. But really important to understand, I believe, in my opinion, they are more offensive players than defensive players. So if you are looking for a true defensive midfielder, an orchestrator might not be the flavor that you're looking for. But if you're a very offensive-minded focused team, or you want to build your attacks from deep in a consistent way, then an orchestrator is a good play style for you to consider. So let's get to the first of the two players that I found. The first guy is a guy called Konovalov, and he's a Russian player with no inspire skills. He can play central midfielder and defensive midfielder. He's 24 years old, he's right-footed, and of course, he's an orchestrator. As we move to his abilities, he's got 64 offensive awareness, which is not good, but that's supplemented by 76 ball control, 75 dribbling, 71 tight possession, 77 low pass, and 79 lofted pass. He's also got 73 curl, which is useful for his passing, and he's got 75 speed and 71 acceleration, which for an orchestrator, you're not going to be doing a lot of sprinting around. So this is actually decent for his playstyle. He's got 80 kicking power, which is really solid, but just remember he's only got 61 finishing. So you're not going to be scoring long-range goals in open play with him based on his finishing stat, but you might be able to do some free kicks based on his 73 curl. He's got 71 jumping, which is not great, but usable, 73 physical contact, and 70 balance, which means that on the ball, he'll actually be pretty decent. None of those are monster stats, but they're respectable for a player that you might do a little bit of dribbling with. And then 79 stamina should be enough for a player with the orchestrator playstyle because you're not doing a ton of running around. As we move to defensive abilities, got 73 defensive awareness, 74 ball winning, and 75 aggression. This is actually pretty good. It means from a positioning perspective, he's got enough speed and enough awareness to get in between passes, and he's got enough aggression to try and body people off the ball. He's not going to be a defensive monster, but paired with his offensive skills, he's a really good, well-balanced orchestrator, and someone who is going to be able to dictate the way that you want to play in the midfield at that defensive midfielder position. He's got a weak foot of 3, which is very good. It means that he can pass with either foot, and that's going to help a lot, especially considering you're probably going to be using him to start a lot of attack. And he's got a conditioning of 5, which means for the most part he's going to be at or above his skill level, so that's good. He's got an injury resistance of 2, which means he's going to be available for most games, and he's got a height of 185, which is actually really good. So he's not an insane jumper and he's not insanely physical, but that height is going to give him a lot of leverage, and so he is going to be able to do some damage in the air and use that height to push people off the ball. Also, because he's 77 kgs, it means that he's got a little weight to his body. So with that being said, it just makes him more useful in setting up play or breaking play up. If we go to his player skills, he's got a couple really good ones. One touch pass, which means that in a pinch, you can go back and forth with him. You can play that tiki-taka style. And then he's also got pinpoint crossing, which means that if he gets over to the wing, he can put a good cross in. And he's got decent passing stats, so they should be boosted by both of these skills. The other thing he's got is gamesmanship, which is actually pretty interesting. It means that if someone tries to force him off the ball, or he screws up a tackle that's 50-50, there's a a good chance that a foul will be called on the opposing player, which means that you'll get a free kick. So important to know there. That skill can actually be pretty solid. The other thing is, because he's got interception, I think this is really important for an orchestrator, because it means that for the most part, you're going to be using positioning versus aggression to be breaking up play. And interception just gives him an additional ability to get in positions where he can cut off passes. This is very useful, and this will be very impactful on this player. As we move over to team role, you'll see he starts with a team player level 1, which is good. He offers some benefits to the team. And then if we look at the development sheet, he's right at the beginning of his plateau. So there is a potential that you could get a boost from him using other players through team roles. But for the most part, when you get him, he's going to be at that skill level for a period of time. And it looks like that's probably going to be around 4 or 5 years. Because he's not an athletic freak, he'll most likely not be impacted by decline in physical ability as much. So he could probably play until he's 31 or so and feel about the same. So you could potentially get 6 years out of this guy. As we move to playstyle, what you'll see is that he's just very good at kind of floating around the field, floating around the players, being in good positions to receive the ball, being in good positions to distribute the ball, and he can make a couple runs as well. And those runs aren't speed-based runs, they're more finesse-based runs. But you can see the one-touch passing that he does gives him that ability to actually be really relevant in the play, and he just finds a way to get into a good position to receive that ball and take it into attacking position. Now, the orchestrator's job is exactly that, to distribute the ball in and around the box and give you the ability to recycle possession. You'll see that through the play that I have here, that's kind of what he does. He just hangs back a little, waits for someone else to come into play, waits for the ball to be passed to him, and then really just kind of hangs onto it for a little while until there's an opportunity to pass the ball off. And so I think that for me was what was really nice about him. He felt good on the ball, he felt sure on the ball, but more importantly, he was in really good receiving position for the ball. And then when he did receive it, he had the ability to take a couple steps, reposition himself, and then people around him would be able to find better positions to receive the ball. He also had a good ability of holding other players off and a good ability of being able to steal the ball off the feet of the offensive player without body bumping them or any insane physical contact. So much more of a finesse type player, but somebody who really has an impact on offensive play. So if you're looking for a guy that's kind of a good all-arounder, I really think he's a good choice for you if you're looking for an orchestrator. All right, so moving on to our next player, I found a guy called Civic. He's from the Czech Republic, 26 years old. He's left-footed. He can play anywhere in midfield. He's got no inspire skills. But we move on to his abilities. He's got 68 offensive awareness, but he's got 78 ball control, 80 dribbling, 81 tight possession. Really, really good ball control skills. So this is a player that's going to be more offensive and a player that you're probably going to want to use more in an attacking and creative way. And he's got that higher offensive awareness, which means he's probably going to get into better attacking situation. He does have 73 low pass and 68 lofted pass. So not great there, but definitely passable for a budget player at the lower levels. He's got 79 speed and 83 acceleration. So again, this really helps with his defensive abilities, his attacking abilities, because it helps him get into positions faster. It also helps him cut off balls more quickly. And he's got 82 kicking power, which means that you can ping the ball from deep, but you do have to, again, remember, he's only got 65 finishing like most of these budget players, so he's not going to be very accurate with those long shots. He's got 68 jump, which we'll get to in a little bit, but that's not great. He's not going to do a ton of damage in the air, but he's got 82 bound, which means that he's going to be very sure on the ball, and this partners really well with his ball control skills and dribbling skills. So if you're more aggressive from a dribbling perspective, if you want to carry the ball out of the field versus passing it out of midfield, then this is probably more the guy for you. And he's got 83 stamina. So again, this helps because he's going to be a little more active, he's faster, he's going to use a little more energy, and so he's got a little more stamina to go with it. As we move to defensive skills, this is where you kind of see that this is really more of an offensive player. 55 defensive awareness, 58 ball winning, 65 aggression. Don't expect this guy to do a ton of work on the defense. What he's going to do is get in good positions to cut off the ball, and that's about the most that you can expect from him. He does have a weak foot of 3, which is really, really good, especially because he's going to be passing and dribbling, so you're going to be able to go either way with this guy. And he's got a condition of 6, which is very, very solid. It means that for the most part, he's going to be above his skill level, and you're rarely going to get below his skill level. So that's great for a budget player or a value player. You're usually going to have a boost to his skills because of this. He's got an injury resistance of 2, which means that for the most part he'll be available, and he's 26 years old. Again, now from a height perspective, he's a small guy, 172 centimeters, but he's 65 kg, which means he's a light guy too. So this really helps because it makes him feel faster. He's small, he's light, he's fast, he's got good dribbling skills. So at the defensive midfielder position, you have a guy who you can immediately take the ball with and start to punch into the opposition's midfield with some ability to go around players. And that's pretty dangerous because a lot of players, a lot of teams won't be expecting that. As we move into his playing skills, you can see there's a lot that he's got going for him. Now I'm going to skip quickly past the first 3. Double touch, cut behind and turn, and step on ball control because they're skills. But you can see if you do like skills, he's fast and he has the ability to do them in a defensive way. And that can be really, really dangerous to open up opportunity. He's got long range shooting. That paired with his ability to actually strike the ball with power means that he is a legit long range threat. His finishing is low, but this gives him a significant boost to that. So there is an opportunity to hit the balls from range here. He's also got dipping shot, which means that he can do a special shot that allows him to beat the keeper more regularly. So really dangerous from range. He's also got acrobatic finishing, which means that if you're sprinting or you do a quick turn or someone's pushing you off the ball, he can still strike the ball cleanly, which is a huge benefit for a long range shooter because it means that when you sprint into the last 40, 30, 20 yards, you can crack those shots with lots of power and still get them on target. And this combination of things mixed with the one-time shot means that you can start to create some really spectacular long-range blasts with this guy. He can pop out of deep midfield, push into the final opposition third, and just start popping off long shots. And you will get some of these to go in. It's kind of a delight. He's also got one touch pass, which means that he can do that tiki-taka play style. And he's also got through passing, which means as he bursts through, he's going to have really accurate and surgical through balls. So really, really good, giving you that ability to be a triple threat. So you can dribble, you can pass, and you can shoot from range. To boot, he's then also got gamesmanship, which means that if you do make a mistake, if you do get caught, if someone does try and tackle you hard, you're also going to get a free kick. So giving you a lot of opportunities to score, giving you a lot of different tools to attack with in the opposition's half. Really, really a dangerous player. Someone that you would consider much more of an attacking player, but someone who can do it from deep in your defensive midfield. So we go over to team role. He's got leader level 1, which is really good. It means he also adds something to your team, and there's a boost there. And then as you look at your development sheet, even though he's 26, you still get a little bit of a spike in development. So he'll end up being 75, 76. But he's a really solid player, mostly because of all of those skills that he's got. He's stacked when it comes to skill. So you'll see as we move into play, his ability to burst into the final third of the field. You'll see him do these link-up plays, get into good positions, be able to push forward and advance, beat a man or two. He's got enough strength to hold off a player because he can play with a defensive style. And so the way I really liked him was he's almost got a play style that plays a little more like a whole player than an orchestrator, but he has all those classic orchestrator tendencies, the ability to go get the ball, the ability to put himself in good positions, the ability to kind of sit back and wait until there's an opportunity that presents itself to him, and then the ability to do something with it. I thought of all of the players I used, and mostly I think down to all of the extra skills he had, he felt like a player that you were going to use to attack. Someone that you could really not just rely on to get in good defensive position, but someone that you could actually start to do some of the heavy lifting when it came to attacking. And so maybe if you're not playing an attacking midfielder, or if you're looking to do a lot of work on the wings, this is a guy that can come into your team and create a legitimate threat in the center of the field while still doing the work of a defensive midfielder to give you the ability to pressure the opposition defense. And then also because he has that ability to shoot from range, you get this legitimate danger where he is going to pressure the opposition's defense in such a way where they have to then come and step up and actually mark him even though he's in a deeper attacking position. And you'll see this a couple times. He'll drag defenders with him, and it won't just be one defender, it'll be 2 or 3 in some cases, and they might not close him down all the way or be super aggressive, but what it will do is if you have good strikers with good movement, it creates scenarios where you're gonna have other people open just because he's pushing into the center of the midfield, into the attacking areas within the midfield. And so it gives you that ability to then decide, are you gonna shoot? Are you gonna pass? What's the best thing for you to do? And in a lot of cases you'll find there are certainly multiple options with this guy. This guy is really good. I recommend of the two of them, if you're more of an attacking minded player and if you're more aggressive in the opposition third of the field, then I would say probably go with this guy. As an orchestrator in general, they're not going to do a ton of work on the defense, but he's going to do a little bit of work on the defense. But this guy is going to be much more of the player that you're going to want to use if you want to push forward, do some really aggressive attacking, and try and score some goals from deep and unlock really difficult defenses. All right, so give these guys a try. Let me know what you think. If there are other players that you guys really like at the Orchestrator position, please leave a comment, let us know, and I appreciate you watching. I've got the Defender series coming soon. I got some really good guys there for you, so stay tuned, subscribe if you want to see what I got coming for you there. And then I'm also going to take a look at tactics soon and do a series on tactics and how you find the best tactics for you. All right, thanks very much, guys. See you soon. Hey guys, I'm new to YouTube, so if you like the content, please give me a like. If you like the topics, please subscribe, and always leave a comment if you can. Thanks, guys.